Good morning. Hand today is going to be 7-6 of hearts. So we have two limpers here. I chose to isolate, and we get a caller, and everyone else folds. So I want to comment on isolating. So if we look at my isolating raise, we've got the always ISO, that range, and an optional ISO. So overall range looks something like this. I think we have a playable hand. We have two players. We have one player that's pretty loose here, over 2,000 hands, 40% VPIP. If we look at limp first in, it's 27%. You could see he's 30% probably easy, with the pre-flop raise around 15%. So you could say top 15% of the hands he raises, and then the next 30% he's limping. So he's looking at like an overall one of like 45% or so. Those top 15% is like that. That's 21%. Well, no, that's 11.5%. So it's going to be a little bit stronger than that. You take those out and you look at all of my optional ISOs. That's 10 more percent. 6-7 is going to actually do pretty good against his limping range. So I like this idea against that player that we're going to just isolate everything. I think he's got an overall weak range, and I think we could take the pot down with a lot of C bets, double barrels, and so forth. This guy's playing a little bit tighter. He's playing at 20-11 with 139 hands, just based on his stats alone. And we don't have a huge number of hands to really get into the limping. So you can see limp first in, 3 out of 56. If we do limp with previous limpers, 3 out of 23. I think he's looking at, like mid to low pocket pairs. You've got some suited aces, not all suited aces, but like the weaker suited aces, weaker, like suited broadways, weak offsuit broadways, maybe. Just generally, again, just speculative, weaker hands, kind of in, we're saying like hands like in this range. So again, our hand does fairly well. Now we're in position. I don't want to limp behind, because if I limp, then this guy's probably going to limp, and one or both of the blinds are going to limp, and we're going to go 6-way to with what's going to be a fairly weak hand to play multi-way. So I like the idea of being aggressive, isolating. I raised it to 6, and that's going to put pressure on everyone. Well, this guy calls. He's playing 26-6. I've got 2,000 hands on him. We've got some information on his 3-bet range. So I think 3 bets is basically like 10s plus ace queen. I think that's suitable. If we look at his calling stats, or just his regular play button, VPIP is 40%. Looks like he knows a little bit about position. Calls 2-bet on the button, 27%. With like a 3-bet stat of like 3%. Again, I think this is 10s plus ace queen, just all of it. Maybe king queen, maybe we could put that in there. But if we break down his range, we're looking at something like this. So I think he's got more hands than I do. I think suited aces, probably suited kings. We need to get up to, percentages, 30% or so, because he is calling about that amount. Call 2-bet. That's 27%. I mean, he's calling that amount, so like we can kind of narrow it down here just a little bit, but that's looking fairly wide. We can look at his limp and call range. He's got ace 10, ace 7, ace 4, king queen off. So I mean, I think all of these ace x hands probably are in there. So maybe what he doesn't have are these suited, like the suited connectors. So I think we're gonna go with this. Maybe king. Did he have suited kings? I guess that's the question. Yeah, he had suited kings in there, limp and called. He's got like 10-3, 10-7. I don't know. Maybe that was a small blind. Yeah, that was probably small blind stuff. All right, so we see a flop, just the two of us, and we flop at 8-10 jack. So we flop a gut shot. So bottom end of the straight, gut shot. 10 of hearts, Jack of diamonds, 8 of spades. And it's on us. This is going to hit his calling range a lot. I think this is a range where we're probably not going to be betting a whole lot. We're out of position. I think we're going to probably utilize quite a few check raises. So, I think just over here, we're probably going to be checking most of our range. So let's just kind of hit what we have for our draws. So 21% we've got for draws, and that means we're probably going to be doing about 10% for raises. So I'm not even sure I would do raises for like aces and kings. I think queens is kind of decent. We block like gut shots hands. We have a redraw to the straight and so forth. So I think if we check raise or if we bet, we're looking at something like this, but I think it's probably better if we just checked based on our range versus villain's range. So, our range definitely has a few more of these good hands than villain. So I think this plays a little bit more as a check, or at least that's how I would play it. And I think I would probably check most everything here. There are some times where I would bet sets and 2 pairs and straights, but I think checking's probably going to be okay. And then villain checks behind, so that's going to be a little bit more telling. Villain checks behind. I don't think he's checking the straight. I don't think he's betting the 2 pair, but he could probably check everything else. I'd like to think he's going to bet the set. Or the straight and straight sets and 2 pair. I'd like to think that he's going to do that. So the 8 comes out. I think now, if we were going for a check raise with those hands, now we need to try to go for some value. I think if we bet, we got like the 10x can call. Middle pair possibly would call. So I think we're going to be betting like quads, probably some full house, probably some straight, and again, probably not all of them. Again, I don't think we're probably betting all of these over pairs too. So at this point, we're probably doing something like that for our C bet, or for a barrel turn. And when I didn't do that, now we're dealing with something like that, and we're going to X those out so that we no longer have them. I think we had the opportunity to bet. I think we still have top pair. Ooh, hold on. Wrong guy. Let's get that out. Oh no, that's me. Yeah, this is me. So we don't have a flush draw. We're Xing those out. Yeah, that's what I thought. I think it's this top pair is probably a check. So I think we're going something like that for our checking range, which means we're betting about like 40%. I checked. Villain checks behind again. So at this point, I think, again, a 3 of a kind's probably going to bet. But I think he's got all the rest here. So again, we're probably ahead because of our ranges. 3 of diamonds comes out. We could take a stab, and this is one where now we look at it. It went check, 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 check. We're betting our full house. We should. I think we go for some top pair, some value for top pair. Middle pair's got some draws, and then we're looking at like some of the nothing hands. We're gonna have to do some of the nothing hands as a bluff, and some of our weak pairs. Probably not all of them, but maybe something like that, like twos and fours, and then those hands. Like my hand right now qualifies, I think, as a bluff. We go ahead and bet, and I think we would be betting maybe 10 big blinds. I think is what we should be doing. I think villain's going to probably call the flush and maybe top pair, maybe middle pair. So we're looking at maybe 37%. I think 70% he's folding. Maybe he decides to bluff catch, but I think it's entirely possible he have the diamond. He's going to probably call if he has the ace x of diamonds, or ace of diamonds, and then whatever other card. So I checked. Villain checks behind. I think overall week he had ace 5, I had 6-7. This is definitely a hand we could have picked it up, but I think we're playing our entire range against his range, and I'm not terribly upset with how we played it. So definitely not upset on the flop. On the turn, I think the 8 kind of sets up a situation where we could bet, but villain's kind of tight. I don't anticipate him betting a whole lot of his value hand. So like his top pair, I'm not expecting him to bet top pair, middle pair, bottom pair, or anything. And those are going to be the hands that end up calling. And we go back to river or turn. Actually, we go to the turn. We're looking at 92% of hands. Well, let's get rid of the no made hand. If he just calls with any pair, we're looking at 41%, so 60% fold. So maybe we attack once it goes check check. I mean, we still have a gut shot if called, and I think that's probably what we should be doing. Again, not upset about my check on the flop, but I think I probably should have been betting on the turn. And I think the turn bet would have been a little bit better than betting on the river. If we bet the turn, I think we could follow up with a river bet, kind of represent the diamonds. With his hand, I honestly don't think he's going to be calling. But that's what it is. Lost the hand, played it passively. Definitely ways to take it down, but again, thinking about our ranges, I think I had decent strategy for the ranges that we were going to play. Yeah, definitely a strategy with some of the ranges we're going to play. We're going to get one street of value on the river, and then middle pair, most of the weak pair, ace high are probably just going to be showdown hands. I do think if we check, he bets, we might have to bluff catch a few times. So hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.